Two of the most powerful men on the planet flew to the same city in the same 2 weeks. They did not fly there to meet each other. They flew there to see the same third man. And the real question is why both of them needed Xi Jinping more than Xi needed either of them. On May 14th, Donald Trump landed in Beijing. First sitting American president to set foot in China in almost 10 years. He brought business leaders a long list of demands, and one thing he wanted more than all the rest. He wanted rare earths. Not a glamorous want, but rare earths are the 17 metals stocked inside almost every machine that matters now. The phone in your hand, the fighter jet in the sky, the data centers that run artificial intelligence. China digs up and refines the lion's share of those metals, and back in April of last year, China turned that into a weapon. Export controls. A faucet Beijing can open and close whenever it likes. So Trump flew to Beijing to get the faucet turned on. And then, almost the moment Air Force One climbed back into the sky, a second jet was inbound. Vladimir Putin. Same city, same host, and same waiting room. So the truth of this trip hides in the paperwork, not in those fancy photographs. Back in October, after an earlier meeting, the White House said China had agreed to effectively eliminate its controls on these metals. Eliminate. That is a big word. A final word. A word that ends the argument. Then came the May summit and the language quietly shrank. The new wording said that China would address concerns about shortages. Address, not eliminate anymore. Address. Address is what a landlord says when your ceiling is leaking and he has no intention of driving over. So then, 5 days after the summit, Beijing went further still. The Chinese Commerce Ministry stood up in public and called its own export controls lawful and legitimate, and said it would cooperate only on reasonable concerns. And China gets to decide what counts as reasonable, of course. That is the entire game, hiding inside one word. Now, let's take a look at the choreography, because the choreography says more than any joint statement. She did not get on a plane. She did not fly to Washington, and he didn't fly to Moscow. She stayed home and let them come to him, one after the other, like patients pulling a number in a doctor's waiting room. Trump on Wednesday, Putin a few days later. So a man who greets two rivals back to back in his own hall, on his own carpet, under his own flag, and that is not a man under pressure. He's the man running the room. So when you are the one everybody travels to see, you never have to give anything away. You just smile and pour the tea and let the other side fill the silence. Now, of course, Trump is not a man who walks into a room empty-handed, and he did bring a card. Taiwan. There is an arms deal for the island worth the better part of $15 billion sitting on his desk, and he has not signed it. He called it a very good negotiating chip and said, out loud, that he had not approved it yet. So picture the table. She holds the metals the entire modern world runs on. Today, this morning, in real time, that is what is happening now. Trump holds a signature that he is refusing to put on paper. And one of those is leverage you feel right now. The other is leverage you only feel if you ever decide to use it. And she knows the difference between the two. She has always known that difference. But there is Putin, touching down in Beijing the instant the American motorcade cleared the runway. Sit with what that timing says. Russia is 4 years deep into a war it swore would take a week. Its economy is bleeding out under sanctions, and when the man in the Kremlin needs oxygen, where does he go? He goes to Beijing. He takes a number in the same waiting room, and, well, he waits. So we have two superpowers, one rising and one sinking, both walking through the very same door in the very same city within days of each other. That door has a name carved over it, and the name is not Trump, and it is not Putin, of course. So here's what all of this means for you, and it is far bigger than one handshake. Everybody still says oil is power. Oil was the last century's power. The power now is compute, the machines that think. And those machines do not run on oil. They run on those 17 metals and on the chips those metals make possible. So whoever controls the metals controls the machines. And whoever controls the machines controls the next 50 years of everything. The words on the page got softer. Putin flew in looking for a lifeline, and she did not move a single inch because the man who owns the faucet never has to move. The story the cameras sold the world was a warm handshake at the Temple of Heaven. The real story, the story underneath that handshake, was a price tag, and Beijing is still the only one holding the pen. So I will be watching three things from here. Whether Trump ever signs that Taiwan deal or keeps it folded in his pocket as a card for later. Whether China loosens that faucet even one single click or leaves it entirely and exactly where it sits. And whether the rest of the world finally wakes up and starts pulling its own metals out of its own ground because Australia just ordered Chinese investors to sell their stakes in Australian mines, and that is the first real crack in the wall. If those three things move, the whole board moves with them, and I will be right there when they do. If you want my deeper analysis on geopolitics and the behavior of the people who run the world, go check my blog, The Power Pundit. I can say things there that I prefer not to say anywhere else. Link in description. And share this video with your family and friends so they know what's really going on. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm The Power Pundit. Much love and bliss.